Hi everybody, this is Kevin Cameron from Kevin Cameron Art, and today I'm continuing to work on a cartoon stylized landmark building, and I'm going to play a YouTube video about selling art on Etsy by Ellen Brenneman. I believe that's how she says her name. In the last video, I talked about drawing using water-based pencils to draw in the outline, and I mentioned that I used a very light blue, and then I switched to a black watercolor pencil so that you could see it better, and it still didn't come out very clearly. But I'm kind of advising against using a black pencil because the black pencil is very hard to erase, which is discovered after I shut the video off. And so any areas I wanted to change were difficult to change. So I would advise that you just use a blue, very light blue aquarelle pencil, water-based. It can be erased when it's dry. It can also, you can use a wet, clean brush with clean water to wash it away, whereas black tends to just leave a gray mark. Anyway, I thought I'd clear that up, and I'm going to play this video for you if you want to listen. She gives some advice on selling on Etsy for artists.
Back to my channel, I get asked about Etsy quite frequently, actually, via social media. So I wanted to do a video today for those of you who are thinking about joining Etsy or selling online in general. Or maybe you've started your Etsy shop and you're just wondering what maybe other Etsy sellers have to say about it. So let's go ahead and get started, and I'll try and make this as quick as possible for you. So first of all, my first rule of thought is to make sure that Etsy is the place for you. There are a lot of online marketplaces where you can sell your work. I mean, there's so many more than even when I started back in 2012. So you want to make sure that Etsy is going to be the place for you. And what I mean by that is that you may be wanting to try some other place that exclusively sells art if you're an artist like I am. And I did that for a while. I started Fine Art America. I was at Redbubble for a while. But I ended up always gravitating back to Etsy because that's where the traffic was. Etsy has a way of bringing people in, because anyone who is looking for something that is handmade, Etsy is the first place that comes to people's minds. So I ended up going back to Etsy simply because that's where the traffic was. I received the most attention on Etsy. So that may not be the case for you. So I would just say do your research, make sure that Etsy is where you would best fit in. Traffic. Traffic is good, obviously. That's why I stayed with Etsy. But traffic can also be a hindrance. And so here is point number 2. Make sure that whatever you're selling is going to be unique to your buyers. And an example of this is I enjoy painting elephants, and I have several elephants in my art shop for sale as prints. I did a not a Google search, I did an Etsy search on Etsy's front page, and I typed in the search section, elephant fine art print. And over 33,000 results came up for that search. I scrolled through, and none of my prints came up in Etsy search. After page 10, I quit looking. So everybody there. It's like overly saturated on Etsy. So when you decide to sell, wherever you decide to sell, make sure that you are selling something that is unique, so that you don't have as much competition with other people. As far as my work goes, I just kind of fell into doing spirit animals, which is the series that I've been working on for the last couple of years. And not many people were doing spirit animal paintings, and I also started working on Yupo paper, and at that time not many people were working on Yupo paper, so I was able to get some unique effects out of my animals that other artists were not really familiar with. So those two things really helped set me apart. So back to my first point about selling something that is unique. Also, you need to have good keywords. So back to my elephant print. Typing in elephant art print got me nowhere. But if I type in spirit animal elephant art print, then my images come up fairly quickly because they cater to a specific group of people. You have to remember, you're not selling to the general population. There's too much competition for that. You need to be able to find your niche market, find out who your customers are, and those are the only people that you need to concern yourself with. Once you find out who your market is, you'll be able to narrow down who it is that you want to sell to, and it'll make it a lot easier to sell. Okay, so my next point is don't expect to be able to support yourself by selling on Etsy alone. From my experience, artwork is not considered a luxury item. It's not a necessity. It is a luxury item, I should say. It's not considered something that you have to go out and get. It's something that people generally buy because they want it, not because they need it. Just speaking from myself as a buyer, so a lot of times I can justify buying a really nice pair of earrings or a handmade scarf or something like that costs $45 because I can use it. I don't just sit and look at it. And so a lot of other people, consumers are like that. They want to spend their money wisely. So, art is very different. Art really reaches people on a deeper level, at least in my experience. It speaks to them. That's why they purchase art. So they can appreciate its beauty, even though they know that it's just going to bring them joy just by looking at it. So you have to not rely on Etsy to pay your bills, at least not right away. Even now, as I'm entering my 5th year of being a full-time artist, I sell my work all over the place. I have a museum here in town that I sell prints through. I have a gallery in another state. I sell most of my original paintings on Facebook. So if you don't have a Facebook art page, you need to get that immediately. I would do that even before you decide to open up a shop on Etsy. Make sure that you have customers established on Facebook because it's free advertising, and those people will follow you over to Etsy. So that is going to just help you. I did it the opposite way. I opened up my Etsy shop first, and then I started my Facebook art page later, a bit later. It was within the same year, but I wish I had done that differently. So set up your Facebook art page first. So anyway, make sure that you have other places that you can sell your work to. Maybe you will find that teaching art on the side is going to be a good supplemental income for you because it's going to be something that you can count on. You never know when you're going to get an Etsy sale. You just, you never know. So, so having income that you know that you can count on is going to be key, because you're going to have to buy supplies and things like that, and you're going to want to make sure that you have the funds to be able to do that. And if you sell a lot of things on Facebook, then you don't have to worry about Etsy taking a cut. So that's always good too. So it would be really good if you could do that. I'm always saying it only took me 5 years to become an overnight success. So that's kind of like my comedic joke for the day. But it can be done. You just have to put a lot of work into it. So good things about Etsy. Starting a shop on Etsy is very easy. There's a lot of people who are really good at support. A lot of Etsy sellers, especially those who are starting out, are really good at supporting each other. Make sure that you're prepared when you start your shop on Etsy. Have several pieces ready to go. Your shop, first impressions are everything. You wouldn't go into a brick and mortar store and look around and see just 10 items for sale in poor lighting, sort of, displayed, just sort of laying out on a table. You probably wouldn't shop there. And Etsy is the same way. Customers have come to expect shops to look as professional as any other online shop that you're going to go into, that you're going to shop at. So it's very important that first impressions are good. If you have poor lighting on your items, if you just have them, and lighting is really key, I have found. That is the most important thing, is lighting. I've gone into a lot of online Etsy shops, and they will have, their jewelry, for example, laying out on a table, and it looks nice, but the lighting is so poor you really can't get any of the detail. You have to be able to present your work so that it looks professional. So do a lot of research on how to take photos. YouTube is a great place for this. It shows you exactly how to do that. Artwork is the same thing. A lot of people have very unique, stylish ways of displaying their artwork. There are apps that allow you to place your artwork in frames where you can virtually put your artwork in a living room up on a wall to make it look really, really nice. So do your research, make sure that you're prepared, have good photos. Let's see, is there anything else? Etsy is also really good for if you have any questions. People are generally really good to answer questions. Etsy has places on there like teams that you can join, treasuries that you can create. I think they're still doing treasuries, things like that. And I think it's supposed to be a way for sellers to engage with one another. I did that for a while, and they say it helps promote your shops to other Etsy sellers, just so that you can market with one another, connect with one another. I did that for a while, and this for me personally. Other people may have a different point of view, but it did not help me at all. It just took a lot of time that I needed to be devoting to my shop. If you're looking to network with other Etsy sellers, great, then it might be very good for you. But I had so much to do trying to get my artwork out there. That was really my priority, was to reach as many people as possible, to reach customers. And for me personally, communicating with other Etsy sellers, they're not the ones who are really going to buy my work. So I really wanted to make a connection with customers. So that's where I focused a lot of my time. So that's really about all the tips that I can think of for the moment. I hope that this was helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comment section below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel. I'm going to be posting videos as I have questions from you coming along, as well as more demos and time lapses of artwork in progress. So again, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
All right, I think I'll stop there for a break. And thanks for watching and for listening. And I'll post her link there for the Etsy advice. and drop in and see how this is going next time. Thanks. See you later, guys.